Hi, everyone, and welcome to another inspirational cancer story, or maybe two in your case.
Two in our case, yeah, very rare.
And Jeff here, brought to you by the Patient Cancer Support Group, a registered charity. My name is Andy. I'm the founder and chair trustee of the charity. I'm a cancer patient myself, and if you wish to know a little bit more about what we do, right at the bottom, you see the link to the Facebook group as well as the website. If you also like, press the button and subscribe to our channel. I'd like to thank every patient who's given their time to tell us all about their experiences, and hopefully this will help others. Pat and Jeff.
Hello.
How nice to see you.
Hello.
Okay. Can you just tell us how it all started? If you can start, Pat, first. Yeah.
Well, my story started back in 2017. I was on a lovely holiday in Sorrento, felt very unwell. Noticed that I had bruising all coming up on my body, felt very weak, very tired. So immediately when I came home from the holiday, got to the doctors. I had the blood tests, and within 2 days they were phoning me back to say, don't leave the house, phone this consultant on Monday. And I was unfortunately told on the phone, which wasn't an ideal situation, that I had leukemia. The leukemia I had was acute myeloid leukemia, where the white cells multiply, they don't die off, they take over your red blood cells, etc. Anyway, luckily I had an excellent consultant. He conferred with the Royal Marsden, and because I was in good health in every other way, even though I was approaching 70, they decided I could go for the full-on intensive chemotherapy, which I agreed to, and had a bone marrow biopsy at the same time, obviously. And then I was in hospital literally within 1 week, to start my treatment. But not so good was the fact that it kept me in St. Peter's Hospital for 5 months. Luckily, I went into remission within the first treatment, actually.
Right. So the treatments were
4 weekly.
4 weekly,
and they weren't drip type treatments. They were cannulas straight in, but very heavy, very heavy chemo. Lost my hair.
And how many hours were you on each day on this treatment?
It literally was. They were coming in sort of like 3 times a day to inject through the cannula, but it wasn't the drip type treatment like a lot of cancers have, so it was all over very quickly, but it did make me very ill, very weak, the usual tummy problems, and they told me I would lose my hair, which I did, which it's going to happen, but crying over the tea lady when it did happen wasn't good. But after your 4 weeks of therapy, if your platelets were up and your neutrophils were up, you were allowed home for 1 week at a time, which was heaven. But then back you went again, for your next treatment. And then after 2 treatments, I was given the choice of a bone marrow biopsy, which I chose not to go for in the end. No regrets, really. So I then went on to have 2 more chemos.
What were the effects when you were coming home? Were you recovering a bit before the next one?
Yes. Well, I think psychologically, it was quite damaging to be in a side room. I wasn't allowed to mix with anybody. I wasn't with any other patients, and it was quite hard trying to keep yourself amused, for all day long. But luckily, I'm good at puzzles, and I love knitting, and I was knitting baby cardigans for the nurses and all sorts. And it's amazing how you can keep yourself occupied, you know. And you do become a family when you're in that sort of situation. Anyway, you know, so that was it. You know, I used to look forward to my weeks at home, and on very odd occasions, if I was up to it, they would let me home on the odd day. Jeff would come and pick me up, and from a morale point of view, because it really can do your head in, you know. But Did
you have any visitors?
I was allowed visitors, but they had to wear masks and aprons. You know,
COVID came early for you.
COVID came early for me. I did see people. I mean,
but I was there as well.
And Jeff was allowed. My husband, you know,
with the mask, obviously.
Okay. But he got so used to going to the kitchen and bring, because I obviously don't want to eat very much, but you did, didn't you? You know, sort of come and got me food that I wanted.
I was part of the
nursing unit.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I know there are different types of leukemia. Without going through to the technical and words the medical profession are using, how would you classify for people to have an idea as to what they are? Is that, I mean, I do know that obviously cancer, they come in stage 1, 2, 3, 4 and everything else, but I know that leukemia is not quite like that. So how do you break it down?
Well, it doesn't seem to be with I mean, there's obviously various types of leukemia, which I don't fully understand. I mean, this was explained that when I was first told I had it, the consultant actually said to me, "Unfortunately, Pat, this is the worst one you can have," which wasn't good news.
No.
And it will come back within probably 4 to 5 years. And I had a wonderful 4 to 5 years of just but it was actually like having a bit of a time bomb, thinking I got to 3 years, I've got to 4 years, and now anyway, sure thing, 2023, which was 5 years, almost 4.5 years later, it came back, and again, because it was a different. It was in a different form, apparently. I was allowed then to have, if it had been the same. I don't actually understand myself. If it had been exactly the same leukemia, I wouldn't have been able to have treatment on the NHS.
Yeah.
But because it was a different leukemia, I was able to go ahead and have the treatment, which was in the form of injections in the tummy, and now this wonderful tablet that they've now invented, if that's the right word, and they've said that this tablet, this venetoclax it's called, has made such a difference with the combination of the tablet and the injection for keeping people alive. The good news for me was the consultant told me at the time, this is quite a good chemo regime and it should give you a good year. And here I am nearly 3 years later. So, you know, from that point of view, there is always hope, and the medical profession don't always get it right.
Absolutely. I think really, I have always heard from people, they were given X months to live or a year and everything else. And so there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. But I think at the same time, you have that positive approach. I mean, I think you've been coming to the group for, I don't know, nearly 2.5 years now or something, or thereabouts, or probably longer. And you've always been like that. And I think that's really
I like to think that I was positive, because in the 5 months I was in St. Peter's, looking back, people have said to me, I don't know how you did it. But I think because I'm a bit of a chatterbox and I made friends, they do become family. The staff, because you're there so long, you know, and the fact that I managed to occupy myself, it was so important, you know. But the only just a little bit of good news for anybody out there that is, you know, feeling negative about themselves. The beginning of the year, I went down with an infection, which, you know, we're prone to with any cancers, really, blood cancers, and I had every infection going: flu, chest infection, RSV, and neutropenic sepsis. And sadly, I was told that there wasn't any more after nearly 4 weeks of high dose intravenous antibiotics, that there wasn't sort of any more they could do for me. So I was sent home with end of life, palliative care, Princess Alice Hospice nurse came to see me, bed set up, everything. And within 2 weeks, suddenly I started to pick up, and nobody could believe it. Had a blood test. Suddenly my infection markers had come down from 150 that they'd been in hospital to 10. So here I am, 6 months later.
How wonderful. How
6 months later, and just, enjoying life as much as I can.
And I have to add on to that, whoever is still with us, that Pat came to one of our meetings about May time or April, and when I saw these two walking in, I was almost in tears, because it was such a joy to see you both there.
Yeah, with my oxygen machine at the time, but no oxygen now, and just
that's the hope you're giving to everybody. I think that's really what it is.
Even my consultant said to me, he was, doesn't say a lot, but he actually said it just proves that the medical profession don't always get it right.
Well,
and
there's something.
That's how it ends.
Okay. Okay. We'll come to a little bit more, because I think you both now go for your... Jeff, what about your case? I think you were 2018 you said or something, didn't you?
2017.
17. Pat, I know you were a bit later than that, aren't you?
Yes.
Jeff?
After Pat had the virtually 5 years, I went for a routine blood test as an old person's checkup, and that flagged up that I had a thing called myelodysplasia, which is a blood cancer. It's a leukemia, and it's if nothing is done, it will progress to acute myeloid leukemia, which is what Pat had originally. I started treatment, and it was a couple of months later that Pat's came back. So we were then in the situation where we were both having the same treatment at the same time. And the haematology unit at Ashford didn't believe that we were husband and wife with exactly the same treatment, exactly the same leukemia.
We're the only married couple that they've ever come across.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, because I have tried desperately through betting companies to find out the odds of you two, and none of them can give me the odds.
No.
That's what it is. Yeah. And that is incredible for anyone, really, when they hear that kind of thing, But how did you feel, if you like? I mean, obviously you had Pat first, so you're feeling, oh God, I've got to be strong for her. When the things reversed, but you still had it in a way, how did you think, what could you have done to support it?
Well, I don't know, you just seem to accept it. We actually made a little bit of a joke about it, because we've been married 56 years and always enjoyed being together, and doing things together. And I said, well, this is ridiculous, love. I said, I know we enjoy doing things together, but, this is pushing it a bit too far. So really, right from the word go, we sort of have made a bit of a joke of it, really. But because I've understood the situation, although you started your new regime, didn't you, with injections and that before I did, so you were able to tell me.
But they do say laughter is actually a medicine, isn't it? So if you take it that we're a little bit lighthearted, maybe, because I have seen people who had taken it so seriously, and that created another problem for them. They're in depression, they're in, they can't talk to anyone. So you've got an additional problem to deal with, really.
The advantage I had when I was diagnosed was that I had virtually 5 years of dealing with leukemia with Pat.
With Pat.
And as several people in the hospital sort of said, I think you know more than us about it. You know?
But then
so-
you saw me as a success story, didn't you? Because
Well,
I survived for 5 years.
But I would say as well, though, that when Pat came home from the hospital,
Is it the first time or the second time?
This
Which one?
is the last time,
Yeah.
and
The last time.
yeah, and she was sent home with a very short term. She was sent home to die.
Oh,
I thought that she was going to die, and I sort of looked at her, but we made every sort of I'm positive, and within no time at all, she picked up and she didn't die. So it's.
I had my black moments. I had my dark moments, and it's not an easy thing.
But I would say that if you, in my case, don't give up, because you never know what's going to happen.
That's it.
The treatment, to me, I've accepted the treatment because I knew it worked with Pat, and as far as I'm concerned, it's keeping me going. It's keeping the nasties at bay, as they call them.
The baddies.
And I'm of the opinion now, you just make what you can of every day, because you never know what's going to happen, but always be positive. That's what I would say.
Well, that you took the question, I was going to ask anyway. What would you advise, Pat? I mean, obviously we heard from Jeff.
Yeah.
What would you say to anyone watching that? And sometimes it's not even about leukemia. People are diagnosed every day. In fact, the dreadful statistics is 1 in 2 of us will have cancer in their lifetime. So what would you advise someone?
Well, exactly that, really. Try and stay positive, and it isn't easy. I wouldn't, it does annoy you at times when people say, "Oh, be positive," because you've got cancer. You might die. But we say now together, let's just enjoy each day, and we do. Our life is a lot more limited because mobility and that's become a bit of a problem. Not so much the infections. I mean, we try and stay away from sort of anybody that's got anything going on. But I suppose we're very, very lucky. We've got a happy marriage, and I think that's it really for us too. We're keeping each other going. That really sums it up,
And on a personal note, I thank you both because you add the group almost every meeting.
We don't say a lot, do we? But sometimes you can't always. You don't always want to be talking about yourself anyway, and other people have got other problems.
I would say actually though that talking about it, going to the group for me anyway, going to the group and listening to other people and what they're doing, how they're coping, is a godsend, because if you don't talk to somebody, if you bottle it all up, it's not really good for you. You need you need to accept your situation, and
I think that's it for us, is accepting the situation, isn't it?
And make the best of what you've got.
Yeah, I suppose really it's the same situation in life. If you don't accept there is a problem, you're not going to rectify that problem. You accept what it is and move on. It gives you a base to move on. Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Hope he comes over. Okay.
Yeah, he will come over. Okay, don't worry. As long as I think anyone listening and watching to the end, I think they will see how inspirational you two are. And I think, on a personal note, thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you, Andy. Yeah, thank you for coming.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Right.
Wonderful.